All right, so getting ready for a job interview, it can be a little nerve-wracking,
Oh,
especially for a skilled trade like wood router operator.
right.
But hey, we're here to help you totally nail it.
One of the cool things about this role, this wood router operator role, is that it's a blend of like traditional craftsmanship, but also this cutting edge tech, right?
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
not just like shaping wood, you're actually operating these sophisticated computer controlled machines.
Totally. It's a whole different ball game these days. And to help you ace that interview, we've got some great resources from RoleCatcher.
Yeah, they're fantastic, actually.
Their career guides are really awesome, like for understanding the job inside and out.
Totally agree.
And then their interview guides, those are packed with real questions, that you might actually get asked in the interview.
Yeah, they're super practical. And on top of that, we'll be kind of sprinkling in some insights about how RoleCatcher's AI can really give you like a personalized
Oh,
edge.
the AI, yeah.
Yeah, it can analyze the job description, and that helps you to tailor your answers and practice like a pro.
Nice. All right, so first things first, let's get a clear picture of what a wood router operator actually does day to day.
Yeah, definitely.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide, they say it's all about, quote, using computer-controlled routers to shape wood with incredible precision.
It's pretty amazing what they can do.
That sounds pretty high-tech.
It is, and it gets even more interesting. The guide also mentions, and this is another quote, contemporary industrial wood routers are usually computer controlled for extremely fine and consistent results. So think like furniture pieces, intricate designs, all created with a level of accuracy, honestly, that would make a master woodworker kind of jealous.
Wow. So, knowing your way around wood is obviously still important,
Oh, for sure.
but being tech-savvy, that's becoming non-negotiable, right?
Absolutely, that's 100% accurate. The guide also talks about in the work environment section, they paint this picture of modern woodworking shops. And they're often really fast-paced, and they demand this insane precision. And they even mention the physical demands of the job, which I think people don't always think about.
Yeah.
Like, you're lifting heavy wood, you're standing for long periods, you're exposed to dust and noise.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not just, you're just creating beautiful things all day long.
Exactly.
So that's something to keep in mind. It's not just a creative job. It requires stamina and definitely a commitment to safety.
Mm.
And speaking of safety, let's dive into a question that is almost guaranteed to come up in your interview. Okay, ready?
Yeah, hit me.
How do you ensure the wood pieces are properly secured during the routing process?
Oh, that's a good one. It's a classic.
He is a class.
And this one is all about showing the interviewer that you understand the risks, right? And that you prioritize a safe work environment. Because, like, a loose piece of wood in a router, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, no kidding.
The guide, it actually lists potential hazards, right, in the work environment and the safety sections. And I mean, we're talking about flying debris, potential for kickback, even serious injuries if you don't follow the protocols.
So how should someone answer this question without sounding like they're just reciting, the safety manual?
Okay, so first I would say acknowledge the WHY, right?
Yeah.
Why are we securing this wood? Well, it's crucial for both accuracy and safety. And then get specific. Be specific about the HIW, like mention different securing techniques like clamps, jigs, making sure the wood is level and stable on that router table, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget to mention double-checking everything before hitting that start button. It shows attention to detail, and any employer is going to love that.
It's such a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. All right, that's a great tip. Now, let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's go to a question that really assesses your problem-solving skills.
All right, I like it.
Okay, the question is, have you ever encountered a difficult routing project? How did you approach it?
Oh, this is a good one. This is your chance to really shine.
It is.
You can showcase your resourcefulness and your ability to think on your feet, right?
Yeah,
Like when things get tough, what do you do?
exactly.
The key here is to use, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners have heard of this, it's the STAR method.
Oh, the STAR method, yeah.
Situation, task, action, result. So it helps you structure your answer in a clear, concise way that highlights your skills.
Right, right. The STAR method, that's key for so many interview questions, actually. Can you give an example of how someone could apply that, the STAR method, to this specific question about the difficult routing project?
Okay, so let's say you were tasked with creating this really intricate design with multiple cuts and curves. You could start by describing the challenges of that specific project, maybe mentioning the need for extreme precision or working with a particularly difficult type of wood, something that really tested your skills.
Okay, so that sets the stage, right? That's the situation and then the task. What about the action part?
So this is where you detail the steps you took to overcome that challenge. Maybe you created a custom jig to guide the router, or you consulted with a more experienced colleague for advice, or you did some online research, to find the best approach.
Oh, that's smart.
Whatever it was, that's the action.
Okay, and then, of course, the result, which hopefully is this beautifully finished project.
Yeah, hopefully. But even if the project wasn't perfect, things happen, you can still highlight what you learned from the experience and how you've applied that knowledge to subsequent projects. It shows a commitment to continuous improvement.
That's a great point, yeah. You don't have to be perfect, just show that you're always learning. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy, right?
Absolutely.
It can analyze your practice answers and give you feedback on whether you've clearly articulated each step of the STAR method, which is so helpful.
Yeah, it's like having this virtual coach, right? It helps you fine-tune your storytelling skills and make sure you're hitting all the key points.
I love that. Like a virtual coach.
Mm.
All right, another question that might pop up, let's see, is what experience do you have with operating a wood router? This one seems pretty straightforward, but it can be tricky if you're just starting out right.
It can be. If you don't have a ton of direct experience, on those big industrial routers, the key is to focus on transferable skills. Maybe you've worked with other types of machinery, right?
Right.
And that demonstrates that you understand safety protocols and precision work, that kind of thing. Or maybe you've got some personal woodworking projects, stuff you've done in your garage, and that showcases your passion and your willingness to learn.
I love that approach. It's turning a potential weakness into like an opportunity,
Exactly.
to highlight your adaptability.
And your eagerness to learn new things.
Right. And remember, even if you're, brand new to those industrial routers, you can still talk about those core skills that apply to any type of woodworking.
For sure.
Attention to detail, precision measuring, understanding wood properties, all of that.
Those are the fundamentals.
Exactly. Those are all great points.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, sometimes it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Confidence. Confidence can make a huge difference.
Huge difference. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI-powered video practice feature comes in. I mean, this is amazing. You can record yourself answering these questions.
It's so cool.
And the AI, it analyzes your delivery. So it looks at your pace, your tone, even your body language.
It's like having a mock interview with a coach who's giving you real-time feedback.
I wish I had that when I was prepping for interviews. It's amazing. Okay, let's switch gears for a moment.
Okay.
And talk about the functions and core abilities section in the RoleCatcher Career Guide. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of what skills are really important, the most important for this job.
And what I find fascinating about this section is that they break down these skills into quantifiable percentages, right? So you get this clear understanding of where the emphasis lies within the role. For example, operations monitoring. That makes up a significant chunk of the job.
Okay.
50%, to be precise.
50%? Wow. So that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a wood router operator, you're constantly monitoring gauges, dials, all these indicators.
And to make sure that the router is functioning properly and that the cuts are precise. You can't just set it and forget it.
Exactly. So when you're answering a question about your experience, you could say something like, in my previous role, I was responsible for monitoring the router's performance throughout each shift, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Ensuring consistent quality and identifying any potential issues before they became major problems. It shows you understand the importance of vigilance, right?
Absolutely. And attention to detail. It shows you're on top of things.
That's a great way to connect a technical skill to a real-world example. I like that. The guide also highlights mechanical knowledge as another key skill.
Right. And that makes up a pretty hefty 57% of the role.
57, wow. So that means you need a solid understanding of how the router actually works, from its design and its uses to its repair and maintenance.
Exactly. You got to know the machine inside and out.
So if you've ever performed any maintenance on a router, even something as simple as changing a blade or lubricating moving parts, be sure to mention it. It shows you're not afraid to get your hands dirty and you take initiative.
Those are valuable qualities. And speaking of percentages, we can't forget the 52% dedicated to production and processing knowledge.
Oh, right. Production and processing. So this is all about understanding raw materials, production processes, quality control, even cost considerations.
Right, exactly. It's about seeing the bigger picture.
So you could showcase this knowledge by discussing your experience in, let's say, selecting the right wood for a specific project.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Ensuring efficient material usage or identifying ways to minimize waste, things like that.
All of those things show that you're thinking about efficiency and cost effectiveness, which are important to any employer.
I'm seeing how these details from the career guide, they can really help you go beyond, just those generic answers
For sure.
and demonstrate a deeper understanding of the role, which is what you want.
It's about showing the interviewer that you've done your homework
Yeah.
and that you're truly invested in this career path.
And speaking of homework, the knowledge and learning section offers some great tips on how to stay up to date in the field, right?
It's an important section because woodworking, like any field, it's constantly evolving.
Always changing.
New techniques, new technologies. So staying current is key.
So this is a valuable insight because it speaks to your commitment to continuous learning.
Exactly.
And to your professional development.
Employers love to see that.
They do. So the guide suggests subscribing to woodworking magazines, online forums, attending trade shows, even connecting with other professionals through social media.
All great ways to stay in the loop.
Yeah. By weaving these activities into your answers, you can showcase your proactive approach to staying ahead of the curve and to constantly improving your skills.
And it shows initiative, which is always a plus.
For instance, you could say, I regularly follow industry blogs and participate in online woodworking forums to stay informed about the latest techniques and technologies.
Perfect.
Or even something like, I recently attended a woodworking trade show where I learned about new types of router bits and their applications, things like that.
It's all about showing that you're passionate and engaged.
And those details, they demonstrate your genuine passion for the craft and your commitment to, professional growth.
It's all connected.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, and I'm already feeling more confident about tackling those interview questions. How about you?
Me too. But you know what?
What's
We've
it?
got even more tips and insights to share.
Oh, even more.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started.
Okay, I'm ready.
So stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive, where we'll continue exploring those tricky interview questions and how to craft answers that'll really impress those interviewers. Welcome back. So we're going to keep diving deeper into these interview questions, the ones that could really make or break your chances of landing that wood router operator job.
All right, let's do it. Hit me with another one.
Okay, how about this? Imagine the interviewer asks, how do you maintain and clean your wood router? Seems pretty basic, right?
Yeah, it does.
But I bet there's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
This is your chance to really showcase that you understand that a well-maintained machine that's essential for safety, for precision, and for the longevity of the machine itself.
So it's about connecting the dots for the interviewer, showing how that attention to detail that translates into a safer, more efficient work environment.
Exactly. So instead of just saying, I clean it regularly, which is kind of a boring answer,
Yeah.
paint a picture of your process, mention removing debris from the cutting area, using a brush or compressed air for those hard-to-reach spots.
Oh yeah, and don't forget lubrication. The guide really emphasizes keeping moving parts like those guide rails and the collet, keeping them well lubricated.
Yes, super important. Mentioning that shows that you understand how to prevent wear and tear, extending the life of the machine.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What about regular inspections? Is that something worth mentioning?
Absolutely crucial. Checking for things like loose screws, damaged cords, worn-out bearings. That demonstrates your proactive approach.
So you're not just waiting for something to break down, you're actually, preventing it from happening.
Exactly. You could even say something like, I regularly inspect my router for any signs of wear and tear because I know that catching those problems early can prevent bigger issues down the road.
Yeah, it shows you're thinking ahead. Okay, I like that. Now, let's get into a question that really tests those problem-solving skills. Are you ready for this one?
Hit me.
Okay. Have you ever had to troubleshoot a problem with your wood router? How did you approach it?
Okay, this is a great question. This is where you can really shine, show off what you're made of. And remember that STAR method we talked about earlier?
Yes, the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result.
Use it to tell a compelling story, that highlights your ability to think critically under pressure. Because stuff happens, right?
Oh, it totally does, especially with these machines.
So instead of just listing off technical jargon.
Right, which can be kind of boring and confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Paint a vivid picture of the situation. Let's say the router suddenly started making this strange noise. and the cuts weren't smooth anymore.
Oh, I can already feel the tension.
Right. You could describe that initial panic, that feeling that something was off.
Okay, and then walk the interviewer through your thought process. So like the first steps you took to diagnose the problem, right?
Exactly. Maybe you checked if the bit was secured properly or if the wood was clamped down tightly enough. You could even mention consulting the router's manual, which shows you know where to find reliable information.
And of course, you want to highlight any relevant skills or knowledge that you used during the process, right?
Yes. Did you use your understanding of router mechanics to pinpoint the issue? Did you consider the type of wood you were using and how that might have contributed to the problem?
Yeah, all those details matter.
And then finally, you want to share the outcome.
So did you fix it yourself? Did you have to call in reinforcements?
Yeah.
Whatever it was, right?
Right. But the key is to focus on what you learned from the experience. Whether it was a success or a, not so successful fix, what did you take away from it?
Okay, yeah, because that just shows that you're constantly striving to improve your skills. You're not afraid to learn from mistakes. I like that. Okay, let's see. What's another good question? How do you ensure accuracy when creating custom designs? That one seems pretty important, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is a high-stakes question, especially for a job that demands such fine detail. You need to show the interviewer that you're not just, pushing buttons.
Yeah.
You're a meticulous craftsperson.
A true artist.
Exactly. And you understand that translating a vision into a tangible, accurate product, that's what it's all about.
Okay, so where does someone even begin with an answer like that? It seems pretty daunting.
I would start by emphasizing that precision is everything in custom woodworking. Even a tiny error can throw off the entire project. And then walk them through your process step by step, show them how you approach it methodically.
Okay, let's break that down. What are some of the key steps they should highlight?
All right, so start with meticulous planning and preparation. Talk about thoroughly reviewing those design specifications, really understanding the client's vision, and selecting the right materials for the job.
Right, because if you start with the wrong wood, you're already in trouble.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the importance of accurate measuring. Using the right tools, rulers, calipers, measuring tapes, and double-checking everything before making any cuts.
Measure twice, cut once, right?
Exactly. You can even mention techniques for transferring designs onto the wood with accuracy, like using templates or stencils.
Yeah, I'm picturing those intricate designs being transferred with, like pinpoint precision.
It's an art in itself. And you know what else is really important? Test cuts.
Oh, test cuts, yeah.
Mentioning test cuts on scrap wood shows that you're proactive about minimizing waste and making sure that final product meets those exact specifications.
Smart. And for those who are a little more tech-savvy, don't forget to mention experience with CAD software, right?
Oh, absolutely. Working with computer-aided design, that demonstrates a whole other level of skill and precision. If you have that experience, definitely bring it up. And here's something else to consider. Adaptability.
Oh, right, because things don't always go perfectly according to plan, do they?
Nope, they don't. And that's where your ability to adjust and problem solve on the fly comes in. You could say something like, even with the best planning, sometimes unexpected challenges arise. I'm always ready to make adjustments as needed throughout the process, ensuring the final product meets the highest standards.
Okay, I like that. It shows you're not just a robot following instructions, you can actually think on your feet. Now, let's get back to safety for a moment. I think this is worth emphasizing again and again. So, how should someone handle the question, how do you ensure safety when operating a wood router? Because that's like top priority, right?
It is absolutely top priority. This question is less about reciting regulations and more about showcasing your deep understanding of potential hazards and your unwavering commitment to a safe work environment. You want to show them that you take safety seriously. It's not just something you talk about, it's something you live by.
It's about conveying that proactive mindset, right?
Exactly. So start by acknowledging the inherent risks. Talk about kickback, flying debris, the potential for serious injury if precautions aren't taken, and then dive into those specific safety measures that you prioritize. Give them concrete examples of how you stay safe on the job.
Okay, let's get specific. What are some key things to mention?
We'll start with the basics. Always wearing personal protective equipment, safety glasses, ear protection, a dust mask.
Yeah, and depending on the work environment, you might even need gloves, a respirator, or a full face shield, right? Safety first.
Absolutely. And then you can talk about maintaining a clean and well-lit workspace, free from clutter and trip hazards. A disorganized workspace is an accident waiting to happen.
Right, it's like inviting trouble. And what about securing the wood? We touched on that before, but I think it's worth emphasizing again.
Definitely. Mention using clamps, jigs, or a feather board to prevent the wood from shifting or kicking back during the routing process.
And keeping a safe distance from that router bit while it's in operation, that's crucial, right? Keep those fingers well away from the cutting area.
Fingers and everything else. You can also mention things like following the manufacturer's instructions for the specific router model you're using, staying up to date on industry safety guidelines. All of that shows that you're taking a comprehensive approach to safety.
And if you've received any, specialized safety training or certifications, now's the time to shine a light on those, right?
Absolutely. It shows that you're not just following the rules, you're going above and beyond to create a safe work environment for yourself and for everyone around you.
Okay, this is all incredibly valuable information. But let's face it, things don't always go perfectly. So how should someone answer the question? How do you handle a mistake or error during the routing process? Because that's bound to happen at some point, right?
It happens to the best of us. This question is all about demonstrating your ability to stay calm under pressure, to think critically, and to find solutions when things go wrong. It's about showing that you can recover from a setback and still deliver a quality product.
Because, everyone makes mistakes, especially in a field as precise as woodworking. It's how you handle those mistakes that truly matters.
Exactly. So start by acknowledging that mistakes are inevitable, but the key is to learn from them. Describe a specific mistake that you've made in the past. Maybe you accidentally cut a piece of wood too short, or you made a routing cut in the wrong place, and then walk the interviewer through your response.
How did you handle the situation?
Yeah, did you assess the damage, try to salvage the piece, or start over completely? It's all about those problem-solving skills. Right. Maybe you came up with a creative solution to repair the mistake. Or maybe you consulted with a more experienced colleague for guidance. The key is to demonstrate that you don't panic, You take a structured approach to resolving the issue.
And that you're not afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Exactly. And then finally, talk about what you learned from the experience. Did it lead you to develop a new technique? Did it reinforce the importance of double-checking your work? Sharing those takeaways shows that you're committed to continuous improvement. You're always looking for ways to get better.
Okay, I like that. It shows you're a lifelong learner. Let's shift gears to a question that's all about your passion for wood. Okay, so how would you answer this one? What is your experience with different types of wood?
Oh, this is your chance to let that enthusiasm for the craft really shine through. Talk about the various species you've worked with, from hardwoods like oak and maple to softwoods like pine and cedar. Describe their different characteristics, their strengths and weaknesses. Really show that you appreciate the nuances of working with different types of wood.
Yeah, and for the wood connoisseurs out there, don't forget to mention any experience with exotic woods, like mahogany or teak. That can really impress them.
Exactly. And then you can delve into the unique properties of each wood and how they affect the routing process. Hardwoods, for example, they're generally denser and more durable, but they can also be tougher to route, requiring sharper bits and slower speeds. Softwoods, on the other hand, they're typically easier to work with, but they might require more finesse to prevent chipping or splintering.
Yeah, it's all about understanding those subtle differences.
And those exotic woods, they often have stunning grain patterns and colors, but they might demand specialized techniques or tools. It's all about showcasing your depth of knowledge and your genuine appreciation for the nuances of working with different types of wood.
It's about being a wood whisperer almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Knowing how to coax the best out of each type of wood.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. The key to nailing these questions is to go beyond those generic answers, to really showcase your specific experiences, skills, and knowledge. Give them concrete examples. Paint a picture. Tell a story.
Exactly. Remember, you're not just trying to prove that you can operate a machine. You're trying to convince the interviewer that you're the best person for the job.
And that brings us to a crucial part of the interview process.
Yeah.
Understanding the potential career trajectory. Where can this job lead you? What are the growth opportunities?
Right. And the Career Stages section in the RoleCatcher Career Guide, that outlines the typical progression from entry-level to junior, and finally, senior wood router operator. Knowing this can help you tailor your answers to demonstrate your long-term goals and ambitions. It shows that you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for a career.
Okay, so let's break down those different stages. What does each level entail?
All right, so an entry-level operator, they might focus on operating the router under supervision, assisting with setup, and ensuring quality control. It's about learning the ropes and mastering those fundamentals.
Got it. And then as you progress to junior operator, You take on more independent tasks, right?
Exactly. Setting up and calibrating the router, troubleshooting issues, collaborating with team members, you're starting to take on more responsibility and really contribute to the team's success.
Okay, and what about that top level, the senior operator? What do they do?
They're the leaders, the mentors. They might lead a team, develop efficient processes, conduct maintenance, and analyze production data. They're the ones who really have a deep understanding of the entire operation.
So even if you're applying for that entry-level position, understanding this progression allows you to demonstrate your aspirations for growth. It shows you're ambitious, you're driven.
Exactly. You could say something like, while I'm eager to learn the ropes and master the fundamentals, I'm also looking for opportunities to develop my skills and eventually take on more responsibility within the team.
That's a great way to phrase it. It shows you're thinking long-term.
And employers love that. It shows you're invested in their company and you're looking to grow with them.
Okay, we've talked a lot about showcasing your skills and experience, but how can RoleCatcher's AI help with the actual interview prep? Like, how can it make you a better interviewee?
This is where technology really comes into play. RoleCatcher's AI, it's amazing. It analyzes the job description you're applying for, and it identifies those key skills and qualifications that the employer is seeking.
So it kind of does the homework for you, in a way. It tells you exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly. And then it compares those requirements to your profile, highlighting areas where you might need to strengthen your answers.
So it shows you your strengths and weaknesses, and it helps you to focus on those areas where you need to improve.
It's like having a personal career coach, right?
Yeah.
Someone who knows exactly what the employer is looking for and can guide you in the right direction. But it goes even further than that. RoleCatcher's AI also provides personalized feedback on your practice answers.
So it doesn't just tell you what to say, it also helps you with how you say it.
Exactly. It analyzes your pace, your tone, even your body language, giving you insights into how you come across during the interview. It's like having a mock interview with a virtual coach who can provide objective and constructive feedback.
That is so cool. I wish I had this when I was going through the interview process. Okay, this is all fantastic information. We've covered so much ground already. I feel like I'm ready to go out there and ace any interview.
I think you are. But you know what?
Don't tell me there's more.
There's always more. We have even more tips and strategies to help you land that dream job.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll wrap up with those final nuggets of wisdom. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back. It's time for the final part of our deep dive into prepping for that wood router operator interview.
We've covered a lot, from breaking down those tricky questions to harnessing that AI magic with RoleCatcher. Now, let's give you those final touches to really make you stand out.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the most important thing, do you think, as we're heading into the home stretch here?
We've talked a lot about skills and experience, which are obviously crucial, but honestly, don't underestimate the power of enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, enthusiasm, that's huge.
Genuine passion, when you love what you do, it just shines through, and employers can sense that a mile away.
It's contagious, right? Like when you're genuinely excited about woodworking and you're excited about, potentially joining their team, it makes you so much more memorable.
Exactly. You become more relatable, more human. So let that passion shine through in your answers. Talk about projects that got you fired up, techniques you've mastered, challenges you've overcome. Don't be afraid to let your personality show a little bit.
It's about letting that inner woodworker shine through, right?
Exactly. Even if it's, a simple project you did in your garage, if you talk about it with energy and enthusiasm, it can leave a lasting impression.
I totally agree. Okay, so passion is key. But we also can't forget about good old-fashioned preparation. That's still important, right?
Oh, absolutely. Practice makes perfect, as they say. So review that job description, research the company, and definitely practice your answers to those common interview questions we've been talking about. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge. It can help you refine your answers, and really polish your delivery.
It's like having a dress rehearsal, right? Before the big performance.
Yeah.
The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel walking into that interview room. Okay, speaking of confidence, let's talk about a part of the interview that can sometimes feel a little awkward.
Okay, what's that?
Asking questions at the end. When you say, do you have any questions for me?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. It's so easy to just say, nope, no questions, and rush out the door.
Right. But that's a missed opportunity, isn't it?
It totally is. This is your chance to gather valuable information about the company culture, the team dynamics, the specific responsibilities of the role. It's your chance to get a feel for what it would be like to actually work there.
And it shows the interviewer that you're curious, you're engaged, you're genuinely interested in the opportunity. It shows that you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for the right job.
Exactly. So come prepared with a few thoughtful questions. Questions that demonstrate your knowledge and your eagerness to learn.
What kind of questions, for example?
You could ask about their commitment to safety training, their investment in new technologies, their approach to employee development, anything that shows you're thinking long-term and that you're interested in growing with the company.
Or even something as simple as, what's the team dynamic like? Or what are some of the current projects the team is working on?
Yeah, exactly. Those are great questions. It shows you're thinking beyond just getting the job. You're thinking about fitting into the company culture and contributing to their success.
It's about finding the right fit, isn't it?
It absolutely is. A workplace where you can not only contribute your skills, but also feel valued, respected, and inspired to do your best work.
I love that. All right, so to wrap things up, I want to emphasize one more crucial point. The interview is a two-way street. You're not just there to be evaluated, you're also evaluating them.
That's so important to remember. It's easy to get caught up in trying to impress them, but you need to remember that you're also making a decision. This is a big decision for you too.
Exactly. So pay attention, pay attention to the interviewer's demeanor, the company culture, the overall vibe of the interview.
Trust your gut.
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
is this a place where I can see myself thriving? Do their values align with mine? Is this a team I want to be a part of? If the answer is no, then maybe it's not the right fit.
And that's okay. It's better to know that up front than to take a job and be unhappy.
Well said. All right, I think it's time to bring our deep dive to a close. What are your final words of wisdom for our aspiring wood router operators out there?
Remember, let your passion shine through. Showcase those skills. And don't be afraid to ask insightful questions. And of course, use all those amazing resources that RoleCatcher provides, especially that AI-powered feedback. It can really make a difference.
It can. All right, we have no doubt that you'll impress them. Good luck out there, and thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.